Jay-Z, we call each other Sean. Okay, yeah, nobody else could call me Sean. He's the only person that Sean approves. There's not a single person that outside of family that should be no. Outside of my mother, okay, just that should be calling me. Yeah, they should be calling me senile. Music since the federal raid. Have you spoken to Sean Combs? Any comment, Mr. Davis? Do you regret ever getting involved and I didn't have a choice? It got bad when I was about 15 years old. Well, everything couldn't make the only was 4 episodes, right? So, it was a lot. You had to pick and choose things. 50 Cent's Diddy documentary already shook Netflix, but almost immediately people started saying the same thing. Too many names were missing. Well, 50 just confirmed what we all suspected. He's sitting on a lot more footage that never made it into the final edit because Netflix only let him do 4 episodes. And here's where it gets spicy. 50 is now hinting that what Netflix didn't air could end up on YouTube uncensored. So are you coming out? I know next year is going to be a number 2 season. I just put on YouTube. Well, we can subscribe and get it. That's I love it. And according to 50, as many as 15 celebrity names were left out of the documentary. So let's talk about who those names are and what 50 could expose about their connection to Diddy. Jay-Z, all right. So the first name that popped up in everyone's mind after watching the doc was Jay-Z, not only because of his past friendship with Diddy, but because 50 and Jay's feud has been going on for over 2 decades. But don't worry, 50 didn't forget about Jay. Instead, he's allegedly preparing something special just for him. In fact, 50 recently hinted on IG that he's not letting Jay off the hook. And he shared this photo and wrote in the caption, "Please stop sending me stuff like this." I'm not going to post it. Now, when it comes to Jay-Z and Diddy's connection, there's honestly so much tea, it could fill an entire series all on its own. And this is extended family. You make it with me through my ups and downs. Whenever I get in trouble, this the one I call this my strategist right here. This my brother. This B's brother. Yes, sir. This Brooklyn's own Brooklyn. Any kind of competition. Did you feel the need to out-party him in any way? Seeing as you're 2 of the kind of leading lights. Yeah, Pub throws the best parties ever. There's no competing with him, but I got him this time. He was actually at my party. He practically MC'd my party. Wow, yeah. He had a cordless mic and he was just running around and saying, take that. Kim Porter. Next up, we have Diddy's late ex, Kim Porter, who passed away in 2018, supposedly of pneumonia. However, there are a lot of people who never bought the official story, and they're now begging 50 to make a documentary dedicated solely to Kim and the suspicious circumstances surrounding her death. A shocked and devastated Diddy spotted at the home where his ex suddenly and mysteriously died. Her good friend Camera Lee Simmons appearing inconsolable at the house. 47-year-old Porter's body found after a desperate call to 911. EMS 14 respond with Engine 76 on scene of the cardiac arrest. They're alleging that the night before Kim Porter passed that she group texted some close friends saying that he got me, and that Kim also insinuated in that text that she felt like she had been poisoned. It's an incident that him and Kim had when she took the court screw when they were fighting, and ripped his whole wrist up. That's what helped Puff, that's how Puff got on, you understand. Those painkillers 'cause Kim wasn't taking it from him. Is it true that Diddy broke her nose? Bust her nose, man. But it was all, insecurities. Anytime a man would go out his way to wiretap someone's phone or put taps in their homes just to monitor their conversation, that's a sign of insanity. Shakir Stewart. Now, speaking of suspicious deaths, we can't forget about Shakir Stewart, a former Def Jam executive who briefly dated Kim Porter before he was found dead in his Atlanta home with a next to him. The official verdict, self-inflicted. But here's where it gets sketchy. Shortly before Shakir passed, he was involved in a physical altercation with Diddy. And Shakir's mother later confirmed in an interview with Rolling Stone that Diddy told Shakir, "I'm going to kill you." The Royal Council says they killed Shakir Stewart, and they did. The tweet says, apparently Kim Porter had a thing with Shakir Stewart. That's when Diddy lured her to that yacht party where he beat her and broke her nose and called the surgeon to fix it. Keith put Kim in a gold casket, then has security 24-hour security at the funeral home so nobody would go in there and touch the casket or take Kim out of there. Chris Lighty. But sadly, Shakir isn't the only man from Diddy's orbit whose death was ruled as self-inflicted despite the suspicious circumstances and public threats. Talent manager and producer Chris Lighty, who was a close friend of 50 Cent, was found dead on August 30th, 2012, outside his apartment in South Riverdale, Bronx. He had a gunshot wound to the head. And again, it was ruled that he took his own life. But that story never sat right with 50 Cent, and he even hired a private investigator to look into Chris's death. In fact, a lot of people now believe 50's hatred for Diddy didn't start over a woman, but over what happened to Chris Lighty. Music, excuse us, excuse us, excuse us. Make way, please. Oh, you should do the investigation. No question. Okay, why is that? I just feel that there's a lot of unanswered questions and I need answers. You need answers. Yeah. You don't feel like he will took his own life. All right. Now, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the men who allegedly enabled Diddy's criminal operation. And of course, the first on the list is Davis. So a lot of viewers were hoping that 50 Cent's documentary would explore Diddy's bizarre relationship with Davis. However, that didn't happen. Was only mentioned as someone who helped Diddy start Bad Boy Records. And that's it. But if you've been on the internet since 2023, you know there are a lot of rumors and allegations swirling around about Clive. From claims, he and Diddy were allegedly romantically involved to conspiracies about Clive sacrificing his artists. I know some guys who work personally with Clive, and they had to leave him before they heard him. So I would say, and maybe I'm wrong that if you tried it with them guys, why you didn't try with him, right? But most likely. And he never left Clyde. Clyde recently made a confession of fiddling with the bad boys. I opened myself up to the possibility that I could have a relationship with a man, Ron Burkle. All right. So, here's a name most people never heard in connection to Diddy. And that's not by accident. Powerful figures like Clyde and Ron Burkle are often described online as puppet masters, who allegedly enabled Diddy's behavior and benefited from his rise, while at the same time staying far removed from the fallout. These are the kind of people that never seem to face the same level of scrutiny or accountability as your regular celebrities. So, who is Ron Burkle? Well, for starters, he's Jeffrey Epstein's former friend, and his name was found in both Epstein's Black Book and on Epstein's private jet log. But here's something even more disturbing. Rob Burkle is also reportedly the godfather of Diddy's children. Let that sink in. Diddy picked Epstein's buddy as the godfather to his kids. Burkle was also Michael Jackson's business advisor at one point. And after MJ passed, Burkle bought the Neverland Ranch. Now, as for Diddy and Burkle, they actually go way back. And back in 2003, Burkle helped Diddy launch his clothing company, Sean John, and invested a whopping $100 million. And get this, there's this article published by WWD in September 2003 that starts off by saying Sean P. Diddy Combs has a sugar daddy. WWD has learned that Combs signed a financing deal aimed at turning Sean John into a billion-dollar label. Now I can't get into all the receipts about Ron Burkle and Diddy here. So let's hope Burkle's name is on 50 Cent's radar because this rabbit hole is way deeper than you can imagine. Out that Burkle's closest pal was P. Diddy. In fact, the evidence is out there. Anybody could go search it. Ron Burkle is the godfather to P. Diddy's children. Oh my God. He also invested $100 million in Diddy's company, Sean John. My opinion is this could be getting information on celebrities and people of wealth and power so they can be compromised and controlled. The co-owner of the Penguins, Ron Burkle, has purchased the Neverland Ranch. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Burkle bought the property in California for $22 million. The asking price was once $100 million, so it's a steal. Burkle was a business advisor to Michael Jackson in the mid-2000s, before Jackson defaulted on a loan that was backed by the ranch. All right, now let's move on to someone who's been very vocal about his loyalty to Diddy. Stevie J. A lot of people were surprised that 50 Cent's doc didn't mention Stevie J, because Stevie was the first celeb to publicly defend Diddy after Homeland Security raided Diddy's properties back in March 2024. In fact, Stevie claimed he was at Diddy's Miami house when the feds stormed it. And even after all those lawsuits, the video evidence, and the guilty verdict, Stevie J is still sticking by his man. So now a lot of people are speculating that the reason why Stevie is going so hard for Diddy is because he knows there are some FO tapes out there with his name on them. And if anyone can get a hold of these rumored tapes, you know it's 50 Cent. We got the fire. We got the fire. You and your feelings about Daphne cause she with gang them, or is it that you sucking little rod? However it go, I want you to fade. Since it's entertainment, let me beat the out of you on TV or something. Don't duck that. I'm calling you out. What you want to do? Curtis, J-Lo. Okay, so J-Lo has been very quiet ever since Cassie dropped her lawsuit. However, that doesn't mean we forgot about that Club New York incident. Now, listen, I'm not accusing J-Lo of anything. However, the woman who was shot in the face that night, Natala Robinson, has publicly stated that she believes J-Lo should be held accountable, too, because she allegedly helped Diddy sneak a gun into the club. And I think it's important for me to say I'm a healthy woman. I live a simple, quiet, risk-averse life. So if I should meet with an untimely demise, it would require and be worthy of deep investigation. I understand the peril of what I am exposing my life to. But here's the thing. Even if J-Lo's completely innocent in that Club New York case, a lot of people have been side-eyeing her because she claims she ran away from Diddy and never looked back after that incident. And yet, there's a ton of evidence showing she and Diddy actually remained close for years, right up until Cassie's lawsuit went public. And at the very least, people feel J-Lo could have shown some public support for Cassie and other alleged victims. Instead, she stayed completely silent. And that silence is why fans are convinced she knows more than she's willing to say. As far as that whole situation, we know what happened and we hope, that it all turns out the way it's supposed to. You had to be disturbed by a report in the New York paper yesterday. Yeah. It said an eyewitness along 8th Avenue as your car drove by saw a female hand throwing a gun out of the car. Rabulous. I don't know, the only female in the car. You don't want to talk about it. Ridiculous. You very confident that Puffy will be found innocent in this trial? Yes, I will. You going to testify if they need me but haven't been asked? No, I haven't been asked since. French Montana, all right. So we've all seen that video of French sitting at Diddy's table, shirtless and baby oiled up, while Diddy serenades him with a happy birthday song. But this is just one of many weird interactions between French and Diddy. And it was actually 50 Cent who leaked a lot of this stuff back when he was feuding with French. He even leaked this photo of Diddy and French on a boat in Miami, seemingly spooning while partying with friends. 50 shared this pic on his IG and wrote in the caption, "What in the world is going on in this picture, man? Something's not right." But 50 didn't stop there. After he posted this photo of himself in a boxing stance, a troll in the comments said, "You should French Montana." And that's when 50 fired back saying, "What the F you just say? I ain't with all that crazy-ish. What the F? You think I'm Puffy?" So yeah, it sounds like 50 knows a lot more than we do about Diddy's relationship with French. And since 50 never gets over his grudges, French better lay low, because one wrong comment could set off 50 to expose everything. Jake. So, if you watch the documentary closely, Jake got a little cameo when Diddy was on the treadmill listening to one of Jake's sermons. Don't you find it interesting that they showed a clip in this new documentary? There were days we would party. Let's go back to the interview where Cat Williams talks exactly about this. It don't matter if you did or whoever you is the every all lies will be. Is it just a coincidence that he mentioned both of them? This definitely didn't feel accidental. Feels like 50 Cent snuck that in on purpose and maybe he was dropping a tiny hint of what else he might expose later. Because if you've been following the whole Diddy T saga from the jump, this rabbit hole goes deep, deep, deep. But maybe 50 is saving the rest for a future project. Because if he laid it all out about Jake in this Netflix doc, it would probably be way too much for the world to swallow. I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming and you F-Worth Bentley? Now, this is a name the younger fans might not even recognize. But if you were around in the early 2000s, F-Worth has got to have all kinds of wild stories to spill about Diddy. But the real question is, would F-Worth even be willing to talk? Because after he dealt with Diddy, he literally ran away from the industry, got married, changed his whole vibe, and these days he seems completely uninterested in the celebrity world. But who knows, even if F-Worth isn't ready to spill, you never know. 50 Cent might still get his side of the story. Hello. Hey, what up? I went asleep. When I woke up, the whole house was clean just like I asked for it to be. But I got a note right here from Babs. She broke out and went to Brooklyn. It's taking you entirely too long to tell a story. This is your problem now. Good luck to you. When I get there, everything better be on point. Why, after working for him, Puff, you think he mastered everything. Farnsworth actually is down here in Atlanta. He's married with like 2 kids. He just lives a quiet life now. But yeah, he should. Yeah, he should. He can't say nothing about me either cause I know his business. You know his business. I know his business. Jamie Foxx. Now, this story about Jamie Foxx practically deserves its own 4-part documentary. Ever since James had that scary medical episode back in 2023 and barely survived, people have been whispering that Diddy might have had something to do with it. See, Diddy and James go way back, and James has openly bragged about recording Diddy's wild parties back in the day. But that's really just the tip of the iceberg, because some claims suggest their connection may have been more than just friendship. Back in the 90s, my mom nicknamed Jamie Foxx. Like, if you take the O out of his name and replace it with a U, that's what she used to call him. But to his face is like a haha joke because he used to bang so many guys and girls in Hollywood. And he used to have these things called butt-naked basketball games. A Jamie Foxx speaking out today after an altercation inside of a restaurant. This happened last night at Mr. Chow. A spokesperson for the actor says someone at another table threw a glass at Fox during his birthday dinner. I would show up to the party in my little in a little town car. That's town, you know. I grab a town car so I could skirt puff the SUVs and the road the Bentleys the whole night. He get out. I get out too with a camera. Jamie Foxx states in the special that Diddy was responsible for what happened to him, and he is the one that called the FBI on. Hey Kevin, when you hosted for Diddy, did you catch any baby oil? And the wrong question. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is another person who is now acting like he never even met Diddy, but the receipts tell a completely different story. Somehow Kevin managed to sweep under the rug that he hosted that infamous Diddy party, where Diddy confessed he used to wake up with 10-year-old Usher and wrestle over the frosted flakes. I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented, you know what I'm saying. But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the frosted flakes because he used to always get them early. And here's the thing. It's super weird that to this day, no one's really asked Kevin about this moment or why he kept hanging with Diddy after all happened. Kev, you know, I'm here playing injured like Kevin Durant right now for the people. For the healthcare workers, you know, and I get it. You look beautiful. It was a great move. You know, I throw that product in there. Things got real, you know, brother. I got to tell you something, man. I love your energy and I love that when people need you, you stand up. You stand up and you show out. I'm not only a fan, I'm a friend, but I'm your brother and I follow your lead, man. You do amazing things. And right now, Justin Bieber, as you probably know, there's been a ton of speculation that Justin was somehow victimized by Diddy. Now, Justin hasn't confirmed or denied any of it, but it's hard to ignore all those creepy videos. Diddy spending 48 hours with 15-year-old Justin, making weird comments, pressuring him to party, and even seemingly threatening him to stay quiet. Got me a Lamborghini. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I haven't gotten it yet, though. Yeah. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house. And he knows better than me talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Oh, apparently not. Something everything ain't for everybody. But honestly, this goes way deeper than Justin. Justin is allegedly one of many teen idols who were preyed on in the industry, which is why people are hopping someone finally does a full-blown documentary on this whole pattern, because this stuff didn't start with Diddy, and it certainly didn't end with him. Lil Jerome. Everybody's heard the rumors about Diddy and Justin Bieber, but before Justin, there was Lil Jerome. This young singer's story is so disturbing that it might be some of the worst stuff you'll hear when it comes to Diddy. Drove that little kid crazy. And that little kid did the Martin Lou took the clothes off and ran out into the street and all of this, which you know they say artists do. They go through that one thing. Yeah, man. That's how artists go crazy. Lil Jerome was reportedly signed to Bad Boy Records when he was just 9 years old. And if you remember, lawyer Tony Busby previously revealed that one of Diddy's youngest accusers is 9. This individual, who was 9 years old at the time was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. But the real nightmare is what insiders say happened to Lil Jerome. People who worked at Bad Boy alleged that Diddy did something so depraved to Lil Jerome that it drove him crazy. Literally. Mark Curry recently admitted that everyone was aware that something terrible happened to Lil Jerome because they witnessed him running out of Diddy's studio screaming. And according to Mark, Jerome didn't just have a regular nervous breakdown. He allegedly ran out of the studio with no clothes on and speaking in tongues. All right, y'all. That's enough for today, but I want to hear from you now. Did I miss anyone important that should have been on the list? Who would you like to see 50 Cent tackle next in a full documentary? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And I'll catch you in the next video.